Okay, it is the Emperor's birthday today. So happy birthday, Emperor, if you're watching. And today we are making a class trip up to Shinichi in the northwest of Fukuyama City to visit the Osayama Shiratsuka tumuli on top of Mount Osa inside this pink square. Tumulus, from the Latin for hill or mound, is from an older root word meaning bulging or swelling. Our words tomb and tumor and tumescent and thumb are all related, and others are too. A tumulus is a tomb. It's a tumescent tomb, and it's an earthen mound with a megalithic internal construction. Wherever the dirt has washed off, or apparently sometimes they just left a rock construction without dirt over top, those are called dolmens in English. We use the Breton word, which they probably took from the Cornish word tolmen, hole of stone. If we had stuck with our Germanic roots, we might be calling them barrows. Barrows, as Tolkien did. You remember the Barrow Wights? I don't think they made it into the movies. There's his barrow. Get back in your barrow. Or we might be calling them giant beds, as the Germans and the Dutch do today. Hunenbed, Hunengrab, Hunebed, giant bed, or giant grave. Bed, of course, as in, as in the sense that my mom would say to me, Kyle, oh boy, you've made your bed, now lie in it. That's not talking about sloppy housekeeping. No, Mum was telling me, well, Kyle, you've dug your grave. Now shut up and lie in it. A bed, like a flower bed, like a furrow in the earth. Giant beds, giant graves. And you can see why. This one we visited in Kannabe 2 years ago is 11 meters long. I think that's 30 feet. 30 feet of burial chamber. Your standard casket, I just checked, is 79 inches long. You know why? Because that's standard human body size. 9 out of 10 people are going to fit easily in there. And the other 1 out of 10 you can probably squash in. Your standard grave, check that too. Yep, it fits your standard casket. Just precisely. We don't dig a 30-foot grave for a 6.5-foot casket. This one, the burial chamber, is only 4 meters long, only 13 feet. Well, I'm not a really big guy, but that's still a giant by my definition. Now, these giant beds are all across Eurasia, Europe and Asia, from the British Isles way over to here in Japan and, well, just everywhere. Everywhere else, too. India, the Americas. Now, the European archaeologists date them, well, they date them pretty old. In Brittany to 5000 BC, in Scandinavia 4000 BC, Ireland, 3000 to 4000 BC. Yeah, I'll go along with all of those. Japanese archaeologists, on the other hand, they date them to 300 or 600 AD. And to that I have to say, yeah, pull the other one. It has bells on it. I think there are political and nationalist shenanigans behind that so-called dating. And we've seen political and nationalist shenanigans at work in Japanese archaeology before. On Mount Ashitaka-yama. Now there are 7 graves in this complex, all down this hillside. And they all the doorways face due south. And that really surprised me. Back in Kannabe, over by Dodo Park, all those dolmens face the setting sun on the winter solstice. Kind of this angle here. All of them, without exception. And I thought I had these things beginning to be figured out, and now I don't. And these 2 sites are only 10 kilometers, only 6 miles apart. Now, they could be hundreds or even thousands of years apart, but it makes me wonder if you say they were roughly contemporary, if there was some kind of big endian, little endian doctrinal disagreement here. Have to wonder, did they fight about these things? We also found this lovely dinette set from the town of Bedrock. You can imagine the Flintstones and the Rubbles having a family barbecue here with Bronto burgers, having a gay old time. Mount Zhao in the distance there, looking back on it from the north. That's where our New Year megalith is. Just look at the skill on show here. It's amazing. These are granite stones. Granite stones on top of a limestone, sedimentary stone and sand mountain. Crumbly limestone and sand. Crumbly and crumbling, actively crumbling. Please keep away from the edge. These granite boulders, tons and tons of them, were carried from miles and miles away, probably up in the Chugoku Range and Mount Hiba. Well, I know that some of you can't get out of your house. You have health problems and family troubles and hard times, and maybe some of you still have lockdowns, and well, you can't get out and see these things because they aren't even near where you are. So we get out, we take you along, share our landscape with you. Whether it relates to the Hibagon or not, I don't know. I don't care. But you know, we did see a lot of wild boar tracks, fresh ones, and we wondered if the boar would use these to sleep in at night, maybe get out of the rain. Well, then I thought if I were a Hibagon, this would make a very attractive, very convenient Hiba hole. If I were a big old lazy Hibagon. Maybe not this one because it's too public, but there must be tumuli like this, lost on some inaccessible, overgrown mountain up in the interior. Wouldn't surprise me in the least if some Hibagon patriarch hadn't made his home in the tomb of some old Neolithic chieftain. It would fit a Hibagon family of half a dozen, maybe more, snuggling up. Now, the largest concentration of dolmens and tumuli in the world is the Korean peninsula, so they tell me. although that can depend on a lot of things like education and awareness and interest, thus reporting and definitions and counting methods, and political and nationalist shenanigans. I don't know, it might be true. Interesting if so, but we just can't let that somewhat fishy claim from our Korean friends go unchallenged. Certainly not on the emperor's birthday. Now, wife and elder daughter, if offered $1 million each, would each volunteer to sleep here one night. Younger daughter and I are both too scaredy cat or wise and prudent. You can be the judge. Which is true. Now, for $1 million, I think I'd let the wife give it a go. I'd strap some trail cams around her, front and back, and if that went well and we recovered her safely and the trail cams, then we might chance the elder daughter. So, eccentric billionaires wishing to fund cutting-edge research, or Your Imperial Majesty, if you're watching, don't be bashful. Get in touch. All right.